Nanaya's magical slippers. Once upon a time, in the heart of Ghana, nestled among lush green hills and flowing rivers, lay the quaint village of Abompe. This village, known for its vibrant traditions and rich culture, was home to a wise and kind-hearted elder, Nanaya. She was revered by everyone in the village, not just for her wisdom, but also for her remarkable storytelling that captivated both young and old. Nanaya had a secret that few people knew. In her tiny mud brick house, adorned with colorful murals depicting the history and folklore of Abompe, she kept a pair of slippers that were no ordinary footwear. These slippers, handed down through generations, were imbued with magical powers. They were made from the finest kente cloth, woven with threads of gold and dyed with colors that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. The legend of the slippers began long ago with Nanaya's great-great-grandmother, a renowned healer and seer. It was said that these slippers had the power to grant wishes, heal the sick, and even transport the wearer to distant lands. But these powers could only be unlocked by someone pure of heart and strong of spirit. One sunny afternoon, as the village children gathered under the ancient baobab tree to listen to Nanaya's stories, she decided it was time to reveal the tale of the magical slippers. Long ago, she began, her voice rich and melodic, there was a time when our village faced great hardship. Crops withered, rivers dried up, and the people were in despair. My great-great-grandmother, Akosia, sought guidance from the spirits of our ancestors. They blessed her with these slippers and instructed her on their use. With their power, she brought prosperity back to Abompe. But remember, these slippers are not to be used lightly. Their magic is powerful and must be respected. The children listened in awe, their eyes wide with wonder. Among them was a bright and curious girl called Efua. She was known for her adventurous spirit and her deep love for the village and its people. As she listened to Nanaya's story, a spark of excitement lit up her heart. She couldn't help but wonder what it would be like to wear those magical slippers and bring about even more goodness to Abompe. Days turned into weeks, and Efua couldn't stop thinking about the slippers. She often visited Nanaya, helping her with chores and listening to more stories, hoping to learn more about the slippers and their powers. Nanaya grew fond of Efua's inquisitive nature and saw in her the same purity of heart that the slippers demanded. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple, Nanaya called Efua aside. "Efua, my dear," she said, "I see in you a great potential. Your heart is pure and your spirit is strong. I believe you may be the one to unlock the true power of the magical slippers. But you must promise to use them wisely and for the good of all." Efua's heart raced with excitement and a touch of fear. She nodded solemnly. "I promise, Nanaya. I will use them only for good." Nanaya led Efua into her home and carefully took out the slippers from an intricately carved wooden chest. They glowed softly, casting a warm light in the room. As Efua slipped them on, she felt a surge of energy course through her. The slippers fit perfectly, as if they were made just for her. Nanaya smiled and said, "The slippers will reveal their powers to you in time. Trust your heart, and they will guide you." The next day, Efua decided to explore the village and see if she could help anyone in need. Her first stop was the home of an old fisherman called Tanso. He had been struggling with poor catches for months, and his family was going hungry. Efua approached him with a warm smile. "Danso, may I help you with your nets today?" she asked. Danso nodded, grateful for the assistance. As they worked together, Efua felt a strange tingling in her feet. The slippers seemed to hum with energy. She whispered a quiet wish for Danso's nets to be filled with fish, and to her amazement, the next time they pulled up the nets, they were brimming with fish of all sizes and colors. Danso's eyes widened in disbelief. "Efua, this is a miracle!" he exclaimed. Efua smiled, knowing the slippers had worked their magic. "May your family always have enough to eat," she said, and moved on to see who else she could help. Word of Efua's miraculous deeds spread quickly through the village. People came to her with their troubles, and with the help of the magical slippers, she found ways to solve them. She helped the farmers grow bountiful crops, healed the sick, and even mended broken relationships. The village of Abompe flourished like never before, and the people were happier than they had ever been. One day, a stranger arrived in the village. He was a tall man with piercing eyes and an air of mystery about him. He introduced himself as Bediako, a traveler who had heard of the magical happenings in Abompe. He was intrigued and wanted to see the miracles for himself. Efua welcomed him warmly, but she couldn't shake the feeling that there was something unusual about him. She kept a close eye on him as he mingled with the villagers, always asking questions about the source of the miracles. One evening, as the village gathered for a festival, Bediako approached Efua. "I've heard so much about you and your miraculous deeds," he said. "But tell me, what is the secret behind your power?" Efua hesitated, but decided to be honest. "It's not me," she said. "It's the slippers I wear. They are imbued with magical powers, handed down through generations." Bediako's eyes gleamed with interest. "May I see them?" he asked. Efua felt a surge of protectiveness over the slippers. She sensed that Bediako's intentions were not pure. "I'm sorry, but I cannot show them to you," she said firmly. Bediako's demeanor changed. He leaned in closer, his voice low and menacing. "You don't understand, Efua. Those slippers belong to me. They were stolen from my family long ago, and I have come to reclaim them." Efua's heart pounded in her chest. She knew she had to protect the slippers and the village. "These slippers have always belonged to my family," she said, "and they are meant to bring good to the village, not to be used for personal gain." Bediako's eyes narrowed. "We shall see about that," he muttered, and disappeared into the night. Efua knew she had to be cautious. She confided in Nanaya, who advised her to be vigilant and to trust in the power of the slippers. That night, as Efua slept, she had a vivid dream. She found herself in a lush green forest, standing before a majestic baobab tree. The tree spoke to her in a gentle yet powerful voice. "Efua, you are the chosen guardian of the magical slippers. Their power is great, but so is the responsibility. Use them wisely, and they will guide you." When she awoke, Efua felt a renewed sense of purpose. She decided to confront Bediako and find out the truth about his intentions. She She found him lurking near the outskirts of the village, his eyes glinting with determination. Bediako, she called out, I want to understand why you believe those slippers belong to your family. Bediako looked at her, a mixture of anger and sorrow in his eyes. Many years ago, my ancestor was a great healer. He created these slippers with the help of the spirits, but they were stolen from him by a jealous rival. Our family has suffered ever since, and I have dedicated my life to finding them and restoring our honor. Efua listened intently. I understand your pain, Bediako, but the slippers have brought so much good to this village. Perhaps there is a way to share their power and bring prosperity to both our families. Bediako's expression softened. He had not expected such compassion. You would do that? He asked, his voice tinged with hope. Efua nodded. The power of the slippers is meant to help others. If we work together, we can achieve even greater things. Bediako agreed, and together they approached Nanaya to seek her guidance and advice. Nanaya listened to their story and nodded thoughtfully. Their spirits work in mysterious ways, she said. Perhaps this was their plan all along, to unite two families and bring even greater prosperity to our people. With Nanaya's blessing, Efua and Bediako began to work together. They combined their knowledge and skills, using the power of the slippers to help not just the village of Abompe, but also neighboring villages that were in need. The fame of their good deeds spread far and wide, and soon people from all over Ghana came to seek their help. Years passed, and the village of Abompe grew into a thriving community. Efua and Bediako became close friends, bound by their shared mission and the magical slippers that had brought them together. They continued to honor the legacy of their ancestors, using the slippers' power wisely and for the greater good. One day, as Efua and Bediako stood by the baobab tree, watching the children play and the villagers go about their day, Bediako turned to Efua with a smile. We have done well, Efua. Our family's legacies are intertwined, and the power of the slippers has brought so much good to the world. Efua nodded, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. Yes, Bediako, we have shown that when we come together with pure hearts and strong spirits, there is no limit to what we can achieve. And so, the legend of Nanaya's magical slippers continued to inspire generations, reminding everyone that true power lies not in the magic itself, but in the love, compassion, and unity that it brings forth.